Hey guys, so a lot of people share their coming out stories, so I decided that I would share some stories from before I came out, since a lot of people, I think, that are still battling with coming out of the closet would be able to relate to a video like this more so than a video about coming out. Here are a few things that I remember dealing with before I came out of the closet. Where I lived here at the farm, we didn't have really good internet service because at the time it was dial-up and there was no way of using the internet. So all the things that people are using nowadays using internet, I didn't really have access to. So when I was little, I didn't have the internet to look up pictures of guys and stuff like that. So I used to take magazines that my sister and I had gotten from the store, and I pretty much just ripped the pictures out that I found attractive, and those were kind of just like my special pictures that I had of guys that I liked to look at as a kid, just because I was attracted to guys and I didn't really tell anybody that. So at the time I was just keeping them to myself. I actually had a special folder hidden in my drawer underneath all my clothes that I used to pull out when my door was shut and locked so that my family wouldn't know. I actually got caught a few times when I went to my grandparents' house, who live in Northern Virginia close to DC. I was actually printing some stuff off so that I could bring it home and put it in my folder, but unfortunately the printer stopped working and I just assumed that it wasn't going to print. Unfortunately, when my grandparents got the printer to work, those were the first things to print off, and I was the only one staying with them, so of course fingers got pointed at me. I came up with several lies to try to cover it up, but honestly I feel like they knew at that point. But it was still several years before I actually came out to my family. My sisters actually, after I came out to them, told me that they had kind of guessed because they had found that folder when they were snooping through my stuff trying to find other things that they were going to borrow from me. Honestly, the amount of stress that it put on me to try to keep it a secret was insane. It was so stressful to pretend to be someone else every second of the day in front of every single person I ever met. And honestly, it made me into a very shy, timid person. People actually talk to me now and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you've changed so much, you're no longer shy." And I'm like, honestly, that had a lot to do with me thinking that if I spoke or if I said anything, that you guys would find out about my secret of me being gay. So I really kept to myself. I was friends with my sisters. I remember dancing and dressing up for little shows that my sisters and I would put on for my family. It's crazy that they didn't guess sooner or bring it up sooner. I guess they were just waiting for me to just come out, which I respect, because at the time I probably would have denied it and it probably would have put a huge gap between me and my family. So honestly, when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school, I really just hung out with my sisters and a few friends on the side. I was in theater and show choir, so a lot of the field trips and stuff like that, I would hang out with people, but they weren't people that I would ever invite back to my house afterwards, just because I felt like people would find out if I hung out with them outside of school. So I really kept to myself. I played Game Boy, which was Pokemon all the way, and pretty much hung out with just my sisters. One thing that I really appreciated from my sisters was the fact that they stood up for me no matter what. If people were making fun of me and calling me gay or different names, they stood up for me no matter what. And I think that was the biggest thing that when I came out to them affected them, was because they had stood up for me this whole time and I'd been lying to them. I honestly remember praying to God almost every single night that He would take it away from me. I remember going to church all the time and hearing about how horrible it was to be gay, and I knew that's what I was after I started to have feelings for guys and not being attracted to girls. I used to get in the shower and just pray that God would wash it away and that He would take it away from me, because I didn't want to be gay. It wasn't until I came out and several years after that that I was finally able to accept myself for being gay and accept myself for being a Christian. Honestly, those two things in themselves were really hard to accept together, and I think being gay and being a Christian, that's such an intense journey for anyone to take, and it's really hard to explain to anyone the journey that I went on, but it was definitely worth it, and I'm glad that I took it. because I wouldn't be who I am today had I not gone through those experiences. One of my previous videos I talked about beards, and that was something that I did have growing up, trying to pretend that I was not gay. My first girlfriend, her name was Samantha. Then I had several other girlfriends after that honestly I wouldn't consider them beards, just because I was hoping that that relationship would stick and that somehow my brain would rewire itself and I wouldn't be gay anymore, but that never happened. Thankfully it didn't, because honestly the person that I am today is most definitely someone that I am proud to be, and I most definitely would never want to be someone else. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you've got any comments, leave them below, because I definitely want to hear your stories. I also would love it if you guys would share this video with your friends on your social medias. It really helps me out, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.